You're now watching Sports Bettor's Paradise on the BetRivers Network.
All right, Jimmy Ott along with Brady Kannon here talking NFL as best bets this weekend. We had an interesting price that I think a lot of you sports gamblers, especially ones with the BetRivers accounts, would be pleased to hear of. We got a 7-point teaser a little bit later. But, Brady, I got to ask you, how did you take the Jacksonville plus 3.5 loss?
Oh, boy. That was pretty tough. I tell you what, though, Jimmy, them going for 2 points at the end of the game, they got that touchdown, and an extra point, of course, puts it within 3, and we likely win. They onside kick, they don't recover, the ball game's over. But going for 2 was the right decision by Doug Peterson. Unfortunately, they did not convert, and we lose our bet getting hooked by the book. But that was a tough one to swallow. But, looking back, if I was the Jaguars, a Jaguar fan, what have you, going for 2 is the right thing to do.
I respectfully disagree because I think it eliminates the easiest path to extend the game, and that's where I got to do it. Sometimes beggars can't be choosy. You don't have, you're worried about overtime. You got to get there first. So I didn't like to eliminate the easiest path.
No, you're right. You make a lot of sense because if they get the onside kick, then it's just a field goal and you extend the game. Well, I think there's 2 sides to the argument for sure.
Yeah,
but, it was a tough one nonetheless.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's over. Everything's moot if you don't. So you have to say they'll get the ball at the 40, the 42 with no timeouts in a minute and a half or so. I've been pretty good at anticipating. Even Peterson, I know his reputation. I was surprised and pissed because I had Cleveland a minus 2.5, but I got out of it some kind of way. Let's get to picks right now. Let's start out in Los Angeles. And, these Rams, right there, 50-50 game, probably should have won against Baltimore. They should have won. They were definitely in position to win, and they had to burn their last time out, which hurt where they couldn't attack the middle of the field. That made their last play before the tying field goal to send it to overtime much easier to defend. Washington making the coast-to-coast trip, 6.5 the Rams are laying here against the Commanders.
Yeah, Jimmy, my power ratings came to Rams by 7, so no real edge there versus my ratings and the line. But I think we're catching the Rams on a real high right now. They've won 3 out of their last 4 games, and you mentioned the overtime loss to the Baltimore Ravens, a really tough defeat there in which they were very impressive in that win. So I think the stock on the Los Angeles Rams is probably at a season high right now. And you could argue it may be on a season low for the Washington Commanders, who going into their bye week had lost 4 straight. And we've talked about this on the show before. A team that goes into their bye week struggling, I like to bet on them coming out of the bye because it gives them a chance to pause, reset, and fix the problems. Ron Rivera's coaching for his job. Players are playing for their jobs. We know Washington can score. When Sam Howell's able to sling it around the yard, they can put up a lot of points. Now they've been blown out in their last 2 games by the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys before going into that bye week. So again, I think while the Rams are probably on a season high, this could be a season low spot for the Washington Commanders. But I really like getting the full touchdown here. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams win the game, but I think Washington can keep this one close. So I'll take the 6.5, and I wouldn't be surprised if they lose by a field goal.
Yeah, I got to believe the Rams are going to be pretty doggone public in this one as well due to the recency bias, which is, it's been real easy to predict where the public action is going in some of these NFL games. Get extra value this football season with BetRivers Squares. I've been having some of them, man. They have been great. And with the lighter schedule, you can kind of expand your betting portfolio, and it's a lot of fun, man. I've been doing it the last few weeks after the regular season in college football is lightened up. Win up to $10,000 in bonus money. Bet $10 in same-game parlays on any game with the Squares icon to earn a square. That's brought to you by our friends over at BetRivers. 2 teams going in opposite directions here, but still the Detroit Lions are favored here at home. Detroit -5 at home against Denver, who just They just keep on winning. Steady Eddie, another comfortable win at that in Los Angeles against the Chargers and Detroit. And Detroit's got away with that one against Chicago, or that lead would be even tighter in the NFC North right now. It's 2 games over the Vikings. Could have been 2 over the Packers, but they tripped up. Detroit -5 at home against Denver, the third game of that Saturday triple header.
Yeah, Jimmy, I've had this game circled for about 3 weeks now because it's a rare situation that we don't get too many in the NFL schedule, and that is the third straight road game for the Denver Broncos. And you talk about, one team kind of on a high, one team on a low. The Denver Broncos have won 6 out of their last 7 games. I have them as the very most improved team in the NFL from where they were at the beginning. They went from the last rated AFC team in my ratings to the 7th best team in my ratings. Now, Detroit, meanwhile, it looks like they're leaking oil. They've been a little bit shaky. They've lost 2 out of their last 3 in the game to the Bears. They turned the ball over multiple times. So I think the stock is pretty low on the Detroit Lions while it's very high on the Denver Broncos. And I believe that the public is already betting the Denver Broncos in this game. And I think the fact that the Lions are 5-point favorites is telling us something here. In my ratings, I come to about 4.5 or so. So I'm about in line with where the odds makers are. But I think the situation greatly favors the Detroit Lions. I mentioned the third straight road game for Denver, their stock being pretty high right now, and I think it's a good spot for the Detroit Lions to bounce back at home after that disappointing performance in the loss to the Chicago Bears last week. So I wouldn't be surprised here if Detroit does get healthy. I believe they are the better team. They've got to get things right, change the turnover problem that they've had. They've got to fix the defense that has been porous the last few weeks. I think they can get all that done against a relatively weak Denver offense. Their defense has really been probably the big part of the equation there, but we know how that Detroit offense can really fire when it's working on all cylinders. So I think Detroit gets healthy here and puts one in the win column, and I think they can get it done by a touchdown or more.
All right, Detroit -5. All right, let's get to the teaser I was talking about. And, a lot of people over the years, and this happened over the last 15 or 20 years, is more and more juicing these 6-point teasers. At BetRivers, you really do need to shop our menu, because you got the sliding scale. You click next to the game, and you can do the sliding scale, but you can also, the teasers. Here's one that I think catches us all by surprise. And Brady, you're quite affluent with shopping lines in the Las Vegas area. A 7-point teaser is -112 at BetRivers. Let's get to it right now. Buffalo is 3.5 over Dallas. In the second half of the teaser, Tampa Bay 2.5 over Dallas, and then Tampa Bay 3.5 over Green Bay. You're going to flip it. Dallas +9.5 and Green Bay over Pick'em +3.5 as well.
Yeah, it's really an amazing price, Jimmy. When I was putting this together on Tuesday night, I saw that price pop up, and I didn't even know if it was accurate, -112. I mean, typically you're paying a minimum of about -140 on a 7-point teaser. I'll start out with Buffalo and Dallas. I made this game pick 'em on my power ratings, and then when I crunch the stats, it still comes out pick 'em. I think you're headed for a tight ball game here. 2 good teams that are really, fighting for playoff position. Dallas coming off of a huge win over Philadelphia. The Bills coming off of a huge win on the road at Kansas City. We know Dallas is not as good on the road as they are at home, but they are playing on turf. They have struggled. It kind of takes away from that team speed sometimes when they have to go away from home and play on grass. But of course, Buffalo, not yet a grass field, still turf at this point. So I don't think that hurts the Cowboys' speed as much. But I think this will be a tight game. I can see Buffalo winning. I could certainly see Buffalo winning and covering the 2.5, but I feel very comfortable with a teaser position here. I would be fine taking this in a 6-point teaser just to 8.5, but because of my partner here in the Green Bay Packers, I wanted to go 7 with them, so that gets us to Dallas +9.5. I don't think this is a 2-possession game at all. I think this is a good ball game we're in for on Sunday between the Bills and the Cowboys, and I think the 9.5 has us in a good spot. Now, the second spot, I mentioned the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay a little bit on a high right now after 2 straight straight wins in a row, and I believe the favorite now to win that division in your neck of the woods there, Jimmy. Everybody plus money in the division, but I believe the Buccaneers are a slight favorite. And then you have the Green Bay Packers on national TV on Monday night, stubbing their toe for everybody to see in living color. So I believe there is a little bit of a buy low, sell high situation here. But the real factor for me was a warm weather team going to Lambeau Field this time of year for the Green Bay Packers, where I have the forecasted temperature for Sunday being a high of 40 degrees. And because of that, this time of the year, I give the Packers a little bit extra for home field advantage. And my numbers came to Packers minus 5.5. And when I crunched the stats, it comes out to Packers almost 7.5. Now, it's, a lot of people will tell you don't ever tease through zero. But this is the one situation where I like to do it, where this line is toggling between 3 and 3.5. There's a lot of 3 minus 120s out there and 3.5s. In this case, we're at 3.5. So you got to go 7-point teaser to get it all the way to the other side of 3. Ideally, if you could find Dallas getting 2.5 and the Packers laying 3, then you could probably pay even a little cheaper price and do a 6.5-point teaser. But the key is to get Green Bay to 3.5. And I have them, like I say, with the ratings, winning this game and probably covering the number. I certainly don't think they're going to lose by more than a field goal. So Tampa Bay on the road in a tough situation, a very cold, hostile environment. Green Bay looking to bounce back, and the Dallas Cowboys continuing on their run of success as of late. In a teaser, I think it gives us enough cushion to cash them both.
Tampa Bay was fortunate in that game, and Baker Mayfield after Atlanta scored the TD and the 2-point conversion to put it on 3. He did engineer the game-winning drive and the game-winning touchdown, but the Bucs were outgained by the Falcons by 144 yards. Mayfield was outpassed by 190. Wow. That's a wasted passing day for Desmond Ridder, 338 to 148, and one of the best kickers in football, Koo, he missed 2. So those are turnovers minus the 7 yards from the line of scrimmage because you take over at the point of attempt. So a lot of things kept Tampa Bay in that game, allowing them to score, be in position to score and win it at the very end. So Green Bay and Tampa Bay, Dallas plus 9.5, Green Bay plus 3.5, 7-point teaser, only minus 112 at BetRivers. You or any of your buddies that do like the teasers, before you punch it in, make sure you check these prices at BetRivers. All right, for Brady Kannon, I'm Jimmy Ott. We'll be back next week with more NFL action right here on the Sports Bettor's Paradise on the BetRivers Network.